Right now at 11, we are digging deeper into what today's Supreme Court ruling means for Virginia voters. Good evening and thanks for staying up with us. I'm Dan Kennedy.
And I'm Dana Smith. So the conservative majority on the court blocked a federal judge's order and will allow Virginia to resume its purge of voter registrations of suspected non-citizens. Stephanie Johnson joins us in the studio with more. Stephanie.
That's right, guys. I spoke with an associate professor of political science at Virginia Wesleyan University about the U.S. Supreme Court's decision. She called this a significant decision as it comes just days before the election, but she also shared what could possibly happen next. With less than a week left until Election Day, the U.S. Supreme Court allowed Virginia to resume its purge of voter rolls, impacting 1,600 voters deemed non-citizens. It comes after the High Court granted an emergency appeal from the Commonwealth's Republican administration led by Governor Glenn Youngkin.
There's no huge influx of immigrants voting. So a law like this, which in actuality is potentially disenfranchising people who are citizens and should vote, is creating a problem to address an issue that doesn't really exist.
Virginia Wesleyan University Associate Political Science Professor Dr. Leslie Coggle says this could impact citizens who made a mistake while visiting the Department of Motor Vehicles.
You fill out paperwork at the DMV. Sometimes you're rushed, sometimes you're annoyed, sometimes you've been waiting 4 hours and you just want to get out of there. The idea that there are some people who failed to check a box on citizenship or who checked the wrong one seems possible to me.
Meanwhile, legal expert Ed Booth says what happens next is in the hands of the courts.
This order is laying out, all of the things that could happen throughout the appeal process. The Supreme Court could decide not to hear it, and then, the stay is done. They could decide to hear it, and then they'll make their ruling.
But Coggle does not believe it will impact future presidential elections in Virginia.
I think this is unlikely to have an impact on Virginia elections in the near future for a couple of reasons. First, because we're not a swing state. At least in this election, it looks pretty likely that Harris is going to take the state by a decent margin.
Well, Coggle also says she does not believe this decision will impact voter turnout, but in fact encourage more people to get out and vote. Stephanie Johnson, 13 News Now.
All right, thanks so much, Steph. And Coggle also says those whose names were purged from the rolls can still vote using a provisional ballot.